The lashings continue, exposing the media and their propagandized rhetoric. Part 2 is your boy Dame. Kyrie Irving has been suspended for 5 games plus, you feel me? Depending on whatever they feel at this point, for not unequivocally apologizing, though he released a statement expressing his empathy towards all of those in which he's hurt, and he's released a statement a numerous amount of times that he is not anti anything because he believes in all religions. But they said he didn't clearly express that he's not anti-Semitic, but he said, I am for all religions. To me, that unequivocally states that he is not against any religion. But because he didn't say, I'm sorry, I apologize, because he didn't do the buck breaking in which they wanted him to do, he didn't conform in which they told him to conform. They wanted him to do a specific thing. And now it's mandated by all the puppets that adhere to these people in which he's fighting against the control system. Now he has to face more punishment. Now more buck breaking. Now more consequences. Let's listen.
I take my responsibility for posting that. Some things that were questionable in there, untrue. Like I said, and the first time you guys asked me when I was sitting on that stage, I don't believe everything that everybody posts. It's a documentary. So I take my responsibility.
Takes his responsibility. That sounds kind of like an apology, but not like the one they want. They want a nigga on their knees. Same way Kanye said in his interview, y'all want me to suck someone's beep? Because he said it a gang of times. He apologizes to those who got offended, which Kyrie did later on today or later on last night. But listen to how they keep pressing and trying to box him into being anti-Semitic. This is sick. Riley Cooper didn't get nearly as much press, and he called some people niggers, right? He talked about whooping some niggas, clearly anti-black speech, hurting Negroes. Kyrie never dared, Ye never dared to threaten any life of any Jew or Semite, whatever you want to label it. Agenda, propaganda. We're gonna get to Stephen A. You know whose side he on.
It seems like Adam Silver wanted to hear the word "I apologize." Or in your mind, you said, "I didn't mean to cause any harm." Were you apologizing, or did you not?
I didn't mean to cause any harm. I'm not the one that made the documentary.
Again, trying to box him into another apology. I didn't mean to cause any harm. These are just the facts. Do I feel sorry for my actions? I don't think my actions had good intent, and the context of my actions are ambiguous. Like he said, it might be some untrue, it might be some ambiguous things, but there's no clearly anti. To be anti is to be completely against. To be completely against. Somebody has to find the context that suggests Kyrie is completely against through his posts, through that film. Like I said, we need to watch. I haven't watched it yet. Through that film, through the post, or through his context. Clearly, because y'all can say he unequivocally didn't give an apology, but y'all can say he unequivocally was anti-Semitic without evidence. Come on now. I got more evidence that he apologized than y'all do that he's anti-Semitic.
Kyrie, for the record, do you have any anti-Semitic beliefs?
Again, I'm going to repeat.
It's redundant. Of course he doesn't. Because he's repeating this statement. He asks him again for the 13th time, do you have any anti-Semitic beliefs? Because he's not saying no with a redundant question, he's answering it in a different way. Listen.
I don't know how the label becomes justified because you guys ask me the same questions over and over again. But this is not going to turn into a spin around cycle of questions upon questions. I told you guys how I felt. I respect all walks of life and embrace all walks of life. That's where I sit.
I respect and embrace all walks of life. That means I'm not anti any form of life. That means I'm not anti-black, not anti-white, not anti-Semitic, not anti-anything. That answers the question. But they want they want their answer. They want a black man to say what they told him to say. And he's not doing it. Buck breaking 101. Go look it up. He's not doing enough for them. You're still saying Toby when we want you to say Kunta Kinte. Or excuse me, you're still saying Kunta Kinte when we want you to say Toby. This is disgusting.
People want to hear though, is this a yes or no?
People want to hear though, is it the yes? Why do people want to hear that? Or does your boss want you to keep asking that to try to provoke more inflammatory moments, to try to defame his character even more? Because you know he's standing up for what he believes in, which is not anti-Semitism, but the freedom to speak, the freedom to post, the freedom to express his beliefs and his opinion without hate. He hasn't expressed hate. Somebody find some evidence where he expressed hate. Please, please. All dismissive of his character.
That question, yes or no?
I cannot be anti-Semitic if I know where I come from.
Again, no, I am not. I cannot be anti-Semitic if I know where I'm come from. I believe he's referring to the origin of people, the beginning of time. Our melanated people have traveled all across the world. So where you find the origins of life, you find people that look like Kyrie. So if you know who you are, you can't be anti anything because these people founded everything. That's all. I'm going to leave it there. You do your own research. People that look like him founded everything first. I'm going to leave it at that.
I cannot be anti-Semitic if I know where I come from.
He's clearly stating that he is not anti-Semitic, but they say he's not.
4 hours after the Nets issued their suspension, Kyrie would post the following apology on social media, which read in part, "To all Jewish families and communities that are hurt and affected from my post, I'm deeply sorry to have caused you pain, and I apologize. I initially reacted..."
Another apology. Why did I react? I initially reacted out of emotion to being unjustly labeled anti-Semitic. Unjustly, wrongly labeled anti-Semitic. Why? So why is he reacting the way he's reacting? Because he keeps getting labeled something in which is not fair. Again, somebody points to the evidence where it's justified. Not rhetoric, not saying, oh, this brings up the Holocaust trigger, or oh, this is Hitler reference. Point out the evidence. Point out the clear and direct evidence and how it establishes anti-anything. If I post a document, or if I post somebody with wise words, and that person has inflicted harm, you can make implications, but you cannot definitively suggest that because I co-sign one context of that person, that I co-sign the whole context of that person. A broken clock is right twice a day. A broken clock is right twice a day. If I point out the 2 times the clock is right, you don't say that I think the clock is always right. That's what they're trying to do with Kyrie, boxing him in.
Acted out of emotion to being unjustly labeled anti-Semitic instead of focusing on the healing process of my Jewish brothers and sisters that were hurt from the hateful remarks made in the documentary. I want to clarify any confusion on where I stand fighting against anti-Semitism by apologizing for both posting the documentary without context and a factual explanation outlining the specific beliefs in the documentary I agreed with and disagreed with. I had no intentions to disrespect any Jewish cultural history regarding the Holocaust or...
Notice how strong and vehement our system is when anybody says anything about this culture. But you can be anti-black all day. Fuck bitches, get money, kill, 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 murder, 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 slavery, lashings, all on TV, movie depictions. You can do the most in regards to black culture. Actors saying nigger all the time. Don't you think that might hurt the black community? Don't you think slave movies might traumatize the black community? But you don't see our media and our conglomerate of control in an uproar. It's a clear agenda that the media has to keep us away from understanding the context of this culture and the cultures prior to it and the origins of it.
To perpetuate any hate. Okay, gentlemen. A lot of layers here to this one, Stephen A. I'll start with
Top Coon. You know Top Coon coming.
you. What stands out to you here?
Sadness. You know, you don't take any joy in what's transpiring right now because you're watching an individual who's a phenomenal basketball player, phenomenal athlete, box office, at least once was box office. In terms of his talent, would be for several years. You're watching him disintegrate before our very eyes. And it's all
I'm watching him being lashed in front of our very eyes, and I'm watching you blame him for being lashed. That's what I'm watching. You're about to blame him for the disintegration of his character and career when it's the media, people like you, doing the disintegration of the character. You guys could leave this story alone. People focused on basketball and First Take Aim don't even care about the story. You guys could leave the story alone, but it's the first thing y'all talk about every morning now. Racism is going on right now with people of color predominantly. Those are the struggling people in this society, in this world, more so than anybody on the planet. But that's not on First Take. That's not top of the morning news. Systemic oppression is never talked about. But when an individual makes a comment that suggests, that doesn't directly say, suggests anti-Semitism, I'll say suggest because that's me being concise with my words. I'm not saying the film is or isn't. I haven't seen the film. It may suggest it. I haven't seen the film. But we can't say unequivocally that it does or doesn't do anything if we haven't seen the film. Nobody's talked about the film. Nobody. So I'm watching the media defame somebody off ambiguous statements.
because of stubbornness,
Blaming Kyrie because he's stubborn. He's being lashed.
because of arrogance.
He's arrogant. How many times you're going to defame and call him everything? Shaq and Chuck called him an idiot. You call him stubborn and arrogant.
And that's what really shines out in my mind. Let me be very, very clear. Kyrie Irving, I believe, is not a bad person. I don't believe he meant to hurt anyone in any way. The problem is that the same individual that wants to have power with his words, the power to influence and affect the lives of people, isn't taking the level of responsibility or absorbing the level of responsibility that comes with it. First of all,
Why not? He's in the interviews. He's responding to questions. He said, I take account in this beginning. He said, I take accountability for that message I put out. He said that. And you said he's not doing that. Lies. That's a clear lie. He's taking accountability. Y'all just showed me an apology. He's taking accountability for those who felt hurt. He's not taking accountability for y'all clearly saying he's wrong, 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 wrong. He should say sorry, bad guy. He's not doing that. He's not buck breaking like you would do.
or know what the hell you're talking about. That's number one. When you're talking about your history, it's one thing for you to sit up there and remind people of things from an historical perspective as it pertains to your own community. Indentured servitude, slavery, Jim Crow laws, things of that nature, because that's what he was alluding to when he was talking about keeping that same momentum, that same intensity and energy when he was talking to the media yesterday. And as a black person,
The media won't. They don't keep that same energy and intensity. And you're in the media. Fuck that as a black person shit. You're part of the media. You don't keep that same intensity for our people or any oppressed people consistently in this paradigm. Sorry to say, but the Jews today are marginally oppressed in comparison to melanated people. I'm sorry. They got to bring up the historical connotations, which we empathize with, but they have to bring up the past when we can bring up the present. So shouldn't we be focusing on present oppression and not comments that may suggest past references and ambiguity?
we should all appreciate that element of him. But when you get in to someone else's history and you contribute to denying what the Jewish community has endured, and
Show that context. We need that context. Kyrie contributed to denying what the Jewish people endured. How did he do that? If that's in the text, say what's in the text, reference it. Because I haven't seen the text, so I can't say he did or didn't with the post. I know that post was by a brother who is a Hebrew Israelite, and it establishes a different context, a different perspective. I can't say whether that's yay or nay, but they're saying that he definitively again denied the history of the Jewish folks. Show the evidence. Fuck the propaganda, fuck the rhetoric. Show the evidence.
The kind of, the ridiculous theories that people try to throw out there, insinuations that the Holocaust didn't exist, that Adolf Hitler
Show that.
is somebody to be celebrated.
Show that. Because I didn't see that in Kyrie's post that he celebrated Adolf Hitler or that he said the Holocaust didn't exist. I watch documentaries all the time. I watch documentaries and I might even post one and it might have some partial truth, but in somewhere in the documentary it might be like, okay, I may not believe in that, but a lot of this documentary seems substantial to me. They don't talk about nothing else in the documentary, apparently. Disqualified because of the claims in which none of us have. None of us seen the claims.
You've got a different problem. That's egregious. That's irresponsible.
More name calling, more defaming.
That's wrong. That's uncalled
Wrong, listen to this. Definitively or in your opinion?
for. That's heinous. That's wrong on so many levels. And to be lost and clueless as to how that can
He's lost and he's clueless.
affect a community different than yours is one thing. But then to sit back and talk about how you won't even apologize at the time for it being anti-Semitic because you don't deem yourself to be anti-Semitic.
The whole media is trying to force buck breaking, forcing him into an apology. Say sorry, same way they did to Ye. What's up with you niggas? What's up with you media niggas asking for apologies all day? How about the actual real Jewish community come out and then they'll apologize, which they have, to the community and the families out there. But this system and structure, which he works for, which happen to be the same people in which we're talking about, Jewish folks controlling this station and this narrative, they are pressing the issue, using it through their pawns.
It's just irresponsible. It really, really is. And so the suspension is warranted. There is no doubt about that.
No doubt. There's no doubt that the suspension is no doubt. Look, no doubt that Kyrie suggested that Holocaust didn't exist. No doubt that the suspension is warranted and Kyrie is wrong, definitive. Look at all the definitive things and look at all the things that are ambiguous. We didn't establish the ambiguity of the context of the post. We didn't talk about that. We didn't say whether or not it was or wasn't. We didn't get to the facts of the statements. And when Kyrie said he takes accountability, he said he didn't, which is a clear lie. This is propaganda. This is not truth. Media, a true media outlet, true journalists will convey truth and let us decide. They are doing propaganda to sway your opinion, to call them crazy and denounce them.
By the way, it's not just a 5-game suspension. It's potentially longer. They say the minimum of 5 games. From what I've been told, Josiah is completely done with him. He's dealing with him because he's under contract and he has to, but he's completely done with Kyrie Irving. Commissioner Adam Silver, who knows Kyrie Irving personally, who is a Jewish man.
Another Jewish man in position of power. Go figure. Go look at the positions of power in these entertainment industries. Go back to Ye's statement. There's always one of them who has a bit of control in the situation. Adam Silver, commissioner of the league. David Stern. All happen to be Jewish. Let me guess, that's anti-Semitism for me to point that out.
Was incredibly off-put and hurt by the irresponsible rhetoric that Kyrie Irving contributed to disseminating by putting that film on Twitter, on his Twitter page. And I think that it speaks to something of I wouldn't say a larger issue, but just something that should allow us all to illuminate things in this respect. Kyrie Irving said yesterday he considers himself a beacon of light. I have religiously stated when I have criticized him that the biggest problem with him is not that his heart is in the wrong place because he.
What's the problem with you? Media loves talking about the problem with other people. What's the problem with you, nigga?
Is not a bad guy.
That you will never go against the system's word. You will never go against your boss and your master because you need that money, nigga. That's your problem. My problem, I could do better. I could help the plight more. I could do my part better. But your problem, nigga, is you latched onto the system and you a slave to money, and the people with money happen to be the people that Ye is calling out.
It's that he thinks his intellect far exceeds those.
Who said that? When did he say that? That's your assumption again, another implication. Objective media doesn't make implications. He thinks he's far superior in intellect. That's what you think of him. He never said that. Point out a statement where it suggests that unequivocally.
So many others, that he is enlightened and that the rest of us are living in darkness and we need to come to the light that he
When did he suggest that?
is trying to shine upon us, and therefore we'll be better off and we'll be more enlightened and we'll be more educated. He comes across not as a student eager to learn, but as somebody who is somewhat
Denounced him as a student, not a student eager to learn.
professorial, that has already arrived, whose knowledge far exceeds that of so many other people. And he's not realizing that he's enlightening a whole bunch of people on a different level. And you know what that enlightenment is, Kendrick Perkins? He's enlightening a whole bunch of people on how to lose money. You missed out.
There you go. There go the slave. You lose money. Fuck integrity and morals, and if you losing money, that's the bottom line. Don't be teaching people how to lose money, even though the people that don't support our plight control money, even though the people that keep us marginalized and at the lowest economic scale control the money. We don't want you to lose the money. It's all about the money. That's what he's teaching people to do. Fuck out of here.
A 4-year, $212 million extension. You missed out on a 4-year, $212 million extension. That's gone. That ain't coming back. Nobody's going to give him a long-term extension because they don't trust him.
Fuck the money. Fuck the money. If you're willing to marginalize your ethics, which from my perspective of Kyrie is the freedom to speak, the freedom to post, the freedom to have his beliefs, the freedom to say things as long as it doesn't unequivocally inflict hate, which nobody can point to evidence that unequivocally inflicts hate to the Jewish community or anybody. He's protecting those rights. And another puppet lashing him. Much love. Shout out to Stephen A. I wish him well. He's a puppet in the game. Same way my last video shows you another puppet in the game. Same way tomorrow, I'll show you another puppet in the game. It's your boy Dame, Exposing the Media Part 2. They will keep buck breaking Kyrie Irving. They will keep buck breaking Ye, but Ye isn't under their control anymore, so they can't do it, so they have to cancel him. They shut him off Instagram. They shut him off Twitter. We won't be seeing as much of Ye unless we research and look him up and find him, because they shut him down because he's not going to be buck broken. But Kyrie's still in their institutions, so now they're going to buck break him until he gets quiet, until the rest of the league goes silent again. It's your boy Dame. Much love. Vibe high. This shit is this shit is crazy. 1984. And they use black faces to do it. They use black faces to do it. And y'all think this ain't his free speech. I just want y'all to know that. His boss, just like your boss, they tell you to do something, you do it. That's not your autonomous free speech. At that point, you're submitting for a different compromise. Maybe a check, maybe you got rent due, respect to that. But when you see a worker, you're seeing them reflecting their boss. So his reflection right now is that of the Jewish media, the Jewish corporations who own this company. That's just the truth. If you don't like the truth, get off my channel. Peace.